Hey, welcome EJS News, episode 11. Today, it's only me, as you see, as it is holiday season. We don't want you to leave you with just nothing. So we are introducing solo sessions like this one to let you know what's going on in JS world. As there are a bunch of news today, I think we can start an intro and then we'll come into it.
DevSpresso.
Okay, so first of all, let's start with the news. One of the probably biggest news for me is that Firefox 115 has been released. And what is important about this release? It's the first release that will be ending the support for Windows 7, Windows 8, macOS 10.12, that 10.13, and that 14. So actually, if you want to be having more security updates, you need to migrate to ESR 115 version of Firefox to get those important security updates in the future. But in terms of there is a new release, there's also a lot of new features added to Firefox. And probably if you're on a Linux machine, you'll be very happy that hardware video decoding is now enabled on Intel GPUs on Linux. Also, if you don't have direct support of H.264 video decoding, now you can fall back to the Cisco's Open H.264 plugin for playback. But for us as web engineers, what is important is what happens in the developer for that. So yeah, Firefox right now is adding hide, ignore listed sources in development tools, which is actually pretty cool. Like, this is something that we already had in Chrome, so I'm very happy that that is here. But as an APIs, one of an API that right now is being added is something that me and JJ actually talked about a few episodes earlier. That new API for change RA by copy is being added here. Like right now, we'll be adding additional methods, and you'll be able to get a new copy whenever you want to change the array. That's cool. Also, they adding URL.canParse function to allow easily check if your URL is valid and parsable in the end of the day. And of course, there will be adding built-in editor to be more reliable with content editable and design mode when you're splitting the nodes, etc. So built-in editor right now will be just better and better. And I think that is mostly it. If you're into WebRTC, of course, there's also an update. If you're into what's going on in private browsing, for example, they added IndexedDB working, and it's also supported. That's cool. Just go to the Mozilla release notes and you'll be having there. But that's not the only browser that got released. Safari technology preview is also getting released. So right now we're getting new version of Safari, and that is of course a technology preview if you're on the macOS Ventura. But if you're on macOS Sonoma beta, then you got these features, and the new version of Safari is has something added which was already set on WWDC. So there will be enabling of feature flags. Then you have responsive design mode that has more refreshments done when you can have photos, etc. There is a redesigned develop menu with easier to find key tools, etc., etc. But adding profiles, now web apps can actually become an app added to the dot, like PWA, and it actually become better and better from version to version on beta on macOS Sonoma. Then we have JPEG XL support, EC we got more support for file format to store photos, and there will be supporting of live text on vertical text in images and videos. So there's a bunch of different features added, but of course with this also we'll be having more fixes for web inspector, CSS, media queries, JS in the end of the day, as for example they added string replace global regex. So in the end of the days, this will result in caching for like larger strings. It is something really cool. And as for SVGs, as an example, they changed how they propagate text decorations. So in the end of the day, Safari is getting better and better, as most of our browsers. I'm very happy because I use Arc most of the time, but I use Safari for most of my tests if my applications are working there. As those browsers are updated, this is not only updates that I have for you today. Let's go to the Vite 4.4.0 that has been released. This release is actually one of the biggest, as they're adding new version of AS build. So it's fatter, faster, cheaper, etc., etc. But what's the most important, it is backwards incompatible right now to AS being handling of tsconfig.js files. So if you are updating things before, if there was change in tsconfig.js files, as build has a lot of problems, etc., etc. Right now there is no problem with that. Also, experimental support has been added for Lightning CSS. And if you don't know what Lightning CSS is a CSS processor, or actually CSS compiler, which is lightning fast. And what the creators of Lightning CSS said, it is built on Rust, which means it should be faster than any other compilers, even ES build. And that's pretty convincing. I don't even try it yet, but what Vite is doing right now, you can not only have support as you can use like Lightning CSS, but you can also opt into CSS transformer, delete the config files, even minify the Lightning CSS. So there is a lot of guide how to set it up, and it works actually. And then we have another new feature, which is templates for solid and quick in Create Vite. And you can go to Create Vite, check if you're using solid.js or quick, then you can use it. Of course, there's a bunch of other bug fixes, but for what it's worth, it's actually very funny because it is already not just 4.4.0, it is right now 4.4.3, with of course a lot of minor fixes being added, as for example, there is an error when server is closed in necessary, and then there was avoiding this error too early, so they fixed that. As we're into compilers, I think we should go to the new kid on the block, which is Bun. And Bun was already mentioned a couple of times in JS news, and right now Bun has been updated to new version, so 6.0.6.12, and right now they're being more and more compatible with, for example, CommonJS. They're more and more compatible with Node.js, and that is very cool, as for example, right now with Bun, Google Maps dependencies and packages will work just like that. That's pretty cool. Then, of course, there is minifier improvements, bundle bug fixes. But there is also a thing called runtime errors. and runtime errors in Bun were sometimes very hard to decode, or harder to decode than your previously in V8. So what they did is actually formatting those errors in the same manner that V8 or Node is doing, and they are automatically source mapped. So yeah, you can right now see the same errors as you used to, and I love what Bun is doing here. So you can use React with Bun, and it will work the same way as V8 in the end of the day. And I think as Bun is adding a bunch of stuff, and we can do things like Node. Hey, the new Node has been released, and Node is very hard to talk about. You know about it. Node is changing very fast as we know it, but in the Node 20.4.0 there is actually a notable change that I want to mention, and this change is adding a mod timers. And you may ask, why do I need a mod timer? So this type of thing has been added to Node so you can easily mod timer in your tests, so your tests will be more reliable and predictable for the time-dependent functionalities. In the end of the day, so whenever you add stuff in your test and you want to mod the timer, you can just add the mod timer as a set timer, for example, and then during the test proceed as a take how many milliseconds on the set timer you want to take in. So in terms of waiting for example, for 9 milliseconds and for 9 seconds, actually for 9 seconds if you want to check it, then you can just wait a second and see what happens. That's pretty cool to check if your code is actually running properly on those every single take of a timer. And as Node has been new, the following Dino has been actually released, and that's also funny part as Dino is coming better and better. So Dino 1.35 has been released, and the bigger thing that they released is that Dino.serve function, so the server is actually now stable and it's working and you can properly use it. So you can actually set it a web server with just one simple line of code saying Dino.serve. That's it. Then of course there's a promise to be added to it, but in the end of the day you can use it that way, or you can actually made it all those HTTP requests and responses seamless. So in the end of the day, the serve HTTP functions of Dino, they are not that easy to understand. Now, Dino serve, they're using the web standard request and responses objects. And of course, as the same as Bun, they're adding actual improvements to Node compatibility. So this month they added built-in features like HTTP2, fs.file handles, or as an example, HTTP client request upgrade. And to be more compatible with NPM, they actually worked with several different packages, and they're right now improved and having integrated with Astro, with Axios, with Discord.js, with Node.js, with Parcel, with Puppeteer, and with Redis. So in the end of the day, the Dino can run code that actually was prepared for Node. That's pretty cool. And there are some changes in few different APIs that I don't know if I want to mention it, because they added just the new namespaces, so some has been changed. They actually made a whole release, and the release notes are very, very big. So if you want to go dig into it, just go. But Dino is right now shipping with new V8, so new V8, which is version 11.6. But this also finally shipping with new TypeScript called, which is versioned right now 5.1.6 as far as I remember. And as we thought, I think 2 episodes ago, there is a new TypeScript coming in. So TypeScript 5.2 with the RFC we're using. Right now it's in beta. So probably, and that's what I was seeing in Dino release notes, they are preparing to this change. So probably in the next few months, within the next few months, we'll get new version of Dino with having support for TypeScript 5.2.0, and that will be it. Okay, that's it for this week. I know it was very fast. It is, as I said, holiday season. There are a bunch of news heading into us, but still, I think it is very, very important to let you informed that it will be faster, better, cheaper JS world in the end of the day, every single day. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Of course, remember to like, subscribe, comment, etc. If you don't like the solos, just let me know. In the end of the day, it is up to you if you want to listen to the content that we have. And I think that's it. Thank you very much, and see you next week.
Hey, thanks for staying till the end. This is obviously outro message with all the links and information that could help you to support us or just contact us. And we greatly appreciate both. This channel is not supported by any big company or organization, so any donation is really gonna make a big difference and will allow us to expand and provide more content like that for you. You can contact us on social media like TikTok or Instagram for now. Also, we have special email address if you'd like to reach out to us or just give us feedback. We really appreciate that and we're looking forward to hearing from you. And if you really think that we've earned it, you can buy us a coffee. Links here. So thank you again. All the links are down in the description and see you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe.